Hi guys, my name is Serena Poon and welcome to my show, Serena Loves. As a celebrity chef, nutritionist, and entrepreneur, I'm incredibly passionate about helping others live their best life through what I call culinary alchemy, which is education, integrative nutrition, and healing energy. So with each episode, I'm going to share with you the inspiring stories of some amazing guests, these entrepreneurs from all different backgrounds, when they'll share their personal stories and challenges about how they got to their success today. And today, I'm excited to introduce Rachel Rhee, who is this amazing wellness blogger. She has Just Dimple It, amongst a couple other things that she does. But her biggest story, which just floored me and inspired me so much, was that she just had cancer 2 months ago. So, I know that's tough, but let's just dive into that because that's an incredible story I would love people to hear about.
Thank you. Yeah. So how I detected this, basically one morning, I had gotten a lot of sleep the night before, but one morning I just woke up at 6 a.m. really early with really sharp pains in my body, in my lower back, in my abdomen, and I just felt really nauseous. And I knew immediately something was wrong.
Right.
There were a few other symptoms that I had discovered. I'll let people Google it if they want to. But I started vomiting and just sweating profusely, and I was at my parents' house, so I asked my mom to take me to the ER.
Okay.
Once we got there, we did a CT scan, and it had been hours since I saw the doctor. So I was kind of wondering, like, what happened? Like, what are the results? Everyone kind of assumed that it would be kidney stones, because I had all the symptoms for kidney stones. But
you're still in the ER and you've just been waiting for hours.
I was still in the ER,
okay.
yeah. So I'd gone in the ER maybe like 9 o'clock in the morning or so, and it was at this point maybe like 2 or 3 in the afternoon.
Okay.
And finally a specialist came in and asked me if I had any history of cancer or any sort of kidney illness in my family, and I have no history of any kind of cancer. So that's when the doctor told me, we see an abnormal mass that's growing. It's on your kidney. It's about 7.5, 8 centimeters big.
That's
so
really big.
It's really big. It covered the whole span of my right kidney. And the doctor had said that I need to stay in overnight for additional testing. I was at that point on, intravenous pain medication. So I didn't really feel kind of like the pain or the scope of like how serious that was.
It didn't click yet.
It didn't click. I was still kind of like in denial. I didn't really understand kind of the words that the doctor was telling me. And so I, naively asked the doctor, like, oh, I'll be fine. Like, can I just go home and I'll schedule an appointment in the future?
Right.
And that's when the doctor kind of said, like, it's a lot more serious than that. You need to stay overnight. And so over the course of the next couple of weeks, I did a lot more testing, a lot more blood work, a lot more x-rays, and it was confirmed by a few other doctors. I got other opinions, of course.
Right.
And it was confirmed that I had kidney cancer.
Right.
So I went in for surgery about maybe 3 weeks after I was originally diagnosed, and they had to remove my kidney, my whole right kidney, because there wasn't really enough to sort of salvage.
Right.
So the tumor kidney was all gone, but luckily it was stage 2 kidney cancer. So stage 2 meaning it hadn't metastasized, so it hadn't gone into my lymph nodes or any other organs.
It was just isolated to the kidney.
It was isolated and contained, and I asked the doctor, when did I get this? Like, and there's no really good answer. There's no way for a doctor to know.
Sure.
But they had said that it'd probably been growing for about 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
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 And thank goodness, you look amazing.
Thank you.
If you had not told me, actually, if I had not seen it on your profile on Instagram, I would not have known. I mean, you look amazing. You have energy. You're so healthy. I personally have worked with clients who have cancer, and I never would have guessed. So you're such an inspiration, obviously from that sense. But as you said, they think it'd been growing for 2 years. So let's backtrack a little bit. You know, and before that point, what were you doing? A few years back, and what do you think could have possibly contributed to that?
Yeah, it's so hard to say like what contributed to that. I 2 years ago was working in a really high stress consulting job. I was working for a very global consulting firm. A lot of early mornings, a lot of late nights, getting on flights. I would always have to fly out to client sites. So I would hop on a plane Monday morning, come back home late at night on Thursday, and kind of rinse and repeat for a couple of years.
Wow.
So
just every week.
Every week.
A lot of traveling.
Every week, yeah. There were a lot of weeks where I like just didn't unpack my suitcase because I knew in a couple days I'd be on a plane again.
Yeah.
So it was really exhausting for my body. So, looking back in hindsight, perhaps all of the stress, the lack of sleep, really not nourishing myself in the right way as well, because, I'd eat hotel food, or I'd eat on the go, and things were just like I just wasn't focusing on my well-being.
Sure. And you weren't getting like nutrients and proper rest. I mean,
exactly.
I wish I knew you then. I would have given you some water.
Yeah.
That's what you need when you have such intense travel schedules like that.
Yeah.
So,
and, back then I just really didn't even think about my health, really.
Your mindset just wasn't even there.
My mindset wasn't there because I was so used to that go, go, go of like, I'm in a corporate environment, I want to climb the corporate ladder.
Sure.
And my health was really just like put on the back burner. But what's really kind of, I guess, unique about my journey too is that I also have an autoimmune disease.
Right.
And that's something that I've had for a few years, and it's called ulcerative colitis for anyone that is familiar, but it's essentially just like inflammation in your gut.
Yes.
And that's something that I had been sick in the past due to it, but again, it didn't really sink in, and it's not something that I really like paid a lot of attention to.
Sure.
I think because, I've always had sort of digestive problems growing up. It was just kind of something, a part of my life.
Yeah.
So I never really took that seriously. Exactly.
Yeah.
It was my normal. But looking back, of course, now I realize that my normal isn't normal.
And your body's trying to talk to you.
My
tell
body,
you something.
exactly. That's exactly the right way to put it. My body has been trying to talk to me and like whisper little things to me throughout the years, like, getting certain symptoms, not feeling well. But over the years, just I never really paid attention to it. So now, of course, after cancer, that's a lot more of like a shock to me, realizing, okay, I need to do something big with my life. I need to do kind of like a 180. For the past couple of years, I have been on sort of like a health and wellness journey. But now it's really just like, now this is truly not just to maybe make myself feel better emotionally, but this is truly like a physical health and well-being that I need to focus on as well.
So that journey first began while you were still with that management consulting firm, right?
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about that transition. So you're still in this company, you're realizing that you're burning out, and you're not feeling well. So what did you decide to do?
Yeah, so I was with that company for about 4.5 years, so it was a good amount of time, and I believe it was like May or June of this year, I decided to leave the company and pursue my own ventures. Because, I started my health and wellness journey a couple of years ago. It had kind of been building up over time, and my heartstrings were just pulling me in that direction. That's where my passion is. I really want to help inspire people, motivate people to live their best selves.
Right. I hear you.
Holistically, and I think our culture is just so ingrained in sort of this go, go, go mentality of like working, a ton of hours, and the amount of money you make is sort of like what helps define people, or the promotion that they get. And I found myself in that kind of rat race.
Right. Like so many people do,
many people. And I just, earlier this year, due to my autoimmune disease, I was getting a lot more symptoms and not feeling well from that. This is even pre-cancer.
Right.
And I just decided, I need to take a step back, reevaluate what makes me happy, what fuels me inside, and move towards that direction, like lean into that. And so I kind of took a leap of faith, and I decided to leave the corporate culture and really pursue what's in my heart.
Good for you.
Thank you.
That is such a huge transition, and it takes so much courage to do that. And did you have like a mentor or someone or a conversation, or you just sort of, like you said, just looked at your life and said, I don't want to live this way anymore. And so I'm just going to take that leap? Or did something or someone or did a story inspire you?
Yeah, it was really, my health was declining. So that was kind of first and foremost that made me kind of think, how can I reassess and kind of change my life in some way. And then all throughout kind of me not feeling well and also building up sort of my social platform and my content creation, I just decided maybe this is what I should just do.
Right.
And I talked to a couple of friends. I actually talked to my mom too and kind of told her what was going on with me physically and emotionally. And everyone was kind of just like, you should just do it. Just try it. Yeah, just try it. And, I'm someone that really values like stability and, it's kind of like the culture that I was raised in.
I hear that.
Yeah.
You could totally hear that.
Exactly.
I mean, that's especially hard with our culture,
Yeah.
to sort of look at our parents and our elders and say, hey, so I'm not going to do this corporate job that you prepped me to do my whole life.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go into this other direction. So
exactly. Yeah, but luckily I am super close to my mom, and so when I talked to her, she just kind of said, just try it, just go for it. This is what you want to do, and if things don't work out, go get another job somewhere else.
Right.
So she was really supportive, and her putting it into that perspective really helped solidify, the direction that I wanted to go, and it made me feel a little more fearless.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, it's a good reminder that nothing is permanent, right?
Yeah.
Nothing's permanent except for change. We always have options. We don't have to box ourselves in. If this doesn't work, we can try 5, 6, 1,000 other things.
Yeah.
So, which I feel like it's a really good message for any entrepreneurs in any industry, people who are at their computers but not feeling passionate about what they're doing, who don't feel like they're thriving, to know that they can go and do other things, right?
Exactly. And also, even to that note, I've realized over time that not everyone has that need to be an entrepreneur or to pursue their passion full time.
Right.
So I don't want to say, everyone go quit your job.
Right.
But if you do have that desire of, wanting to feel more fulfilled throughout your day, like pursue it, pursue your passion, try it as a hobby at first, see if you really enjoy that and add more time into that.
If you feel pulled to it.
If you feel pulled to it.
And that's what you did, right? You kind of got into it for the last couple years before you decided to leave that job. You were kind of already, dipping your feet into the health and wellness space, right?
Exactly.
Is that when you started your blog? Was it 2 years ago before you left?
Yeah, it was about 2.5 years ago. I just really needed an outlet. I needed an emotional outlet to kind of boost my self-esteem, boost my self-confidence, gain kind of who I was again. I was just feeling very run down, and there were so many personal life experiences that kind of had me in sort of like a depressed state.
Right.
So I just needed some sort of creative outlet for me to be able to express myself, and that's how Just Dimple It started.
I love it, and it's such a cute name too. So, other than obviously you have dimples, is that kind of how you came up with it? Did you come up with it? Did your mom?
Yeah, no, I came up with it because, like I was saying, I was sort of in a darker kind of time period of my life, and being a really naturally positive and optimistic person, I was like, Rachel, you have to get out of bed, you have to move on with your life, just smile, just dimple it, and that's kind of how.
Oh, that's really
it
cute.
started. Yeah,
and that's literally sort of like the affirmation and the mantra you were telling yourself to do every day to kind of get yourself out of this dark space. Right?
Exactly.
That's great.
Thank you.
I love that. That's really great. So tell us a little bit about what you blog about. You know, I know that you said you share some of your personal stories, and I think you have another account, right, that you do as well.
Yeah, so I definitely share my own personal health journey. So I'm, obviously all of the sort of health ups and downs that I've experienced this year, I do definitely dive into that, my emotions around that, even sort of like the nutrition and holistic aspects of kind of dealing with an illness. But overall, I really just want to bring a lot more positivity into people's lives. When I talk to my community, so many people are feeling burnt out and they're not prioritizing themselves. And one of the ways that I was able to you know, get more positivity and gain more confidence in my life is through fitness and through healthy eating and through self-care and wellness and all of these things that I have incorporated into my own life that I really want to bring to everyone out there.
It's about sharing that, you know, sharing, and as I said, educating people and letting them know what the options are and what they can do, supporting them that way.
Exactly, yeah. And, you know, my first love has always been fitness. I love sort of movement of every kind. I love boxing, and I used to be a spin instructor. And
oh, very cool.
Yeah, I love HIIT and yoga and all the things. And through that, and through kind of what I do through blogging and content creation, I've been able to be exposed to a lot of different fitness brands.
Sure.
A lot of athleisure. There's so much cute, you know, activewear that people
so much
can
cute
buy.
Activewear.
So I decided to create shopurelement.com.
Okay.
Essentially, an element, I think, in sort of the traditional sense is, you know, wind and fire and earth and all of these things. But in the fitness world, an element is perhaps boxing or running or a specific kind of movement. So on shopurelement.com, I bring to people a curated view of all of my favorite activewear and athleisure that's perfect for the specific element or movement of their choice.
Okay, that's great. So people must love that, because especially if I were to start boxing, I would want to know what to wear.
Exactly.
You know? So that's a great idea. So I definitely want to sort of ask you about the pros and cons also of this switch. So obviously there's so many pros. You have more freedom in your schedule. You're passionate about what you do. But there's so many people that have also sort of made this switch into the blogging space. You know, it'd be great to share just a few key points, you know, before we wrap up about, you know, also the cons and how you balance that out as being a blogger. You know, it's a lot of events, there's it's time consuming, and people don't always realize that. So.
Blogging is a lot more time consuming than people think. I think, you know, even with social media and Instagram especially, you know, when you see a photo on someone's feed, it's not just, you know, a click of a button. There's a lot of preparation and creation behind that. And the content behind that. A caption, I think, is something so valuable now. Because it's where you can really have your message resonate with your community. So really there's a lot of preparation and planning. I think for anyone that's getting into blogging or interested in content creation, consistency is key. I think that's something that you know, people always talk about, but it's so true. You have to kind of show up for your audience. Obviously take care of you, and, you know, if you're feeling overwhelmed, you know, and you need to take the time out, I'm all for that. You know, even for myself, I've taken a few days off of social media because I just personally needed that.
Oh yeah, I've done that too, you know. And I know there's a little bit of anxiety associated with it sometimes at first, but really at the end of the day, like, what matters, right?
Exactly. So, just think about what your why is and what matters to you and what your purpose is, and really just always try to have that at the forefront of what you do. And I actually have my why and my purpose like as a little sticky note on my computer. So it's always like a constant reminder of, you know, Rachel, you're here to do this to help people, to help them live well in all ways.
I love that. Remember your why. You know, that is like the key important part of all this. So thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you for having me.
Let us know again what your social handles are, where we can find you.
So on Instagram, I'm at Just Dimple It. And my blog is thedimplelife.com, and my activewear company is at shopurelement.com.
Great. Thank you again. That was Rachel Rhee on Serena Loves TV, and I'm your host, Serena Poon. I'll see you next time.